what's up, everybody? What's going on? That's right. The Boxing Source is here with the Midweek Report on August 16th, 2023. And we got a few things here that we're going to be talking about in this Midweek Report, just getting through this stuff quick. Uh, Try to have this be as brief as possible. A number of big stories coming through here today. And of course, the head story is pretty much in the middle part of this. So we're going to be going through a number of topics on here. Big ups for everybody that would join here live on the Midweek Report on this conversation, and you give your reactions to what's going on in reference to these topics. Do have the phone number at the bottom there. I'm going to see if I can activate that here in the last 30 minutes of this particular report, Midweek Report. If anyone wants to chime in, don't be scared, or whatever it is, to call in and give you reactions to these topics. But of course, we had what was going on over the past couple of days, over in New York and Los Angeles with the press tour with Canelo Alvarez and Jermell Charlo as they build it undisputed versus undisputed. Canelo Alvarez as the super middleweight champion, undisputed there at super middleweight. Jermell Charlo undisputed at super welterweight. That fight will take place on September 30th in Las Vegas. This is another one of those super fights that has taken place this year. We had one in April, with Tank Davis versus Ryan Garcia. They had another one that happened on July 29th with Errol Spence versus Terrence Crawford. We got September 30th here with Canelo Alvarez versus Jermell Charlo. And, in those two press conferences, you had Canelo and Jermell Charlo basically just talking about what was going to be coming up here in the upcoming fight. And, for a number of people, I guess, this was something where you have Canelo Alvarez back, with, the Heyman Boxing or, TGB Promotions or Premier Boxing Champions banner, so to speak, as, he, had a fight with Caleb Plant that was on the Premier Boxing Champions banner that was on Showtime, where he did win the undisputed super middleweight championship with a stoppage win over Caleb Plant. You know what I'm saying? And now, with this coming to here with a fight against Jermell Charlo, this is another one of those super fights where you have a fighter in Jermell Charlo that's coming up in two divisions there, where he wants to face Canelo Alvarez and see if he can defeat Canelo Alvarez. Now, if y'all have been following the YouTube channel, there is like one particular video that was recently posted in one trainer there in Stephen Brandman Edwards that talked about this fight that's upcoming, and said that it really isn't a thing as far as like people think with the size, because both of these fighters have been coming up pretty much around the same weight class. It's just that Jermell Charlo had been staying in the 154-pound division for the majority or pretty much his whole career, while Canelo Alvarez had been there 154, 1,160, and 1,168, and also 175. You know what I'm saying? So with Canelo, he's kind of like been around that weight class for much longer, of course, than Jermell Charlo. But with Jermell Charlo, for those that kind of follow the sport, Jermell Charlo is a fighter that's coming down to make the 154-pound limit. So here in this particular case, he doesn't really have to worry about cutting weight and anything like that. All he has to do is just pretty much focus on strategies in order to combat what Canelo Alvarez does. Shout out to those in the live chat. Of course, I got Brother Sherelle checking in. Here it says, pretty uneventful press conference. Now, I mean, I could have been out there, in the New York press conference, but, of course, work takes priority with that. Did see a number of people, fellow reporters that are out there, shout out to those people out there, Hardcore Boxing News was out there, YSM Sports Media was out there, Brother Hans was out there as well. He had a few other people that were there in New York for the first press conference, and then you had all of the West Coast reporters that were out there for the second press conference in Los Angeles there. That's the thing. Now he said back when folks were critical of Broner jumping up 2 weight classes, no comparison here. Yeah, I mean, yeah, but this was of course is completely different. Adrian Broner went from 135 to 147. Did win the title there at 147. Went up against Paulie Malignaggi, whatnot, and then pretty much had a wake up call against Marcos Maidana. So I mean, it was something where Broner had been matched up, I guess, pretty well before that fight against Marcos Maidana. And like I said, got a serious wake up call in that particular fight that ended up being his first professional loss. Now, of course, with Jermell Charlo, he did have a loss to Tony Harrison at 154 pounds, and of course, redeemed that with a stoppage victory over Tony Harrison. Had a draw against Brian Carlos Castaño, and pretty much redeemed that with a stoppage victory. Now he's going up here in the biggest challenge of his professional career against Canelo Alvarez, and it's something that we kind of like see both of these guys just being involved in high profile fights. Of course, Canelo Alvarez is no stranger to this. Of course, he is the biggest attraction in the sport of boxing, and that he says that he's happy to be part of these particular events, and that just seeing here, of course, with me, I kind of like see what has happened with him in the past couple of fights against Gennady Golovkin, against Dimitri Bivol, against and against a few other opponents there. You know what I'm saying? Of course, he had his last fight against John Ryder in Mexico, and well, that didn't quite turn out the way that multiple people expected. They thought it would have been like a blowout victory for Canelo Alvarez. He did score a knockdown in that particular fight, but John Ryder was able to get through 12 rounds, and it ended up being a wide decision victory for Canelo Alvarez. But at least for me, I expected Canelo Alvarez to stop John Ryder. I expected Canelo Alvarez to formally end the career of Gennady Golovkin by stopping Gennady Golovkin, and that didn't necessarily happen. And so it's like, and I kind of like had a show a while ago, on the Boxing Source radio show. One of those topics was, has Canelo lost the set? This was, right after his fight against John Ryder. Was that, I expected him to go through there and get a, knockout victory, and he didn't do that. So, going off of that quick reaction, I just said, hey, has Canelo lost the set in reference to, what he is able to do there from an offensive standpoint, as he, kind of like sets up his opponents, sets up traps, and is able to, get to the opponent, at least with his movement, even though it's like lateral movement of sorts, but still be able to use precision punching in order to break down his opponents. Now here against, Jermell Charlo, who is, of course, a taller fighter there. Of course, like I said, he, is, goes down to 154, but is usually around that size of, being like 180 plus, So that's the thing about it, is that he really doesn't have to cut down that much this time in order for him to make weight. So he really, once he gets there in camp with Derek James, over there in Texas, what is he going to be able to do in order to combat, the mannerisms of Canelo Alvarez and the things that he does have? This is also a great question there from Terrell. I mean, you have Canelo Alvarez that, has been in the game for a very long time, and it's like, when is it going to be the time where we pretty much have Canelo Alvarez, have his father time, having him being called up? I mean, this is going to be his, his 64th professional bout coming up, and he's been in the game for a very long time. So we got to see. I mean, is it going to catch up to him here in this particular fight against Jermell Charlo? Now, I've made my statement in reference to this particular fight. So I've pretty much kind of like given an answer to the question, but and I'll go through that particular answer in depth later on down the line as we get closer to the fight coming up on September 30th. But my thing is with Jermell Charlo, man, he's gonna kind of be somebody that is going to, say, hey, this is going to be my chance to, have a, calling out or, pretty much a, showcase here. You know what I'm saying? That, this is the fight where, he'll say that he gets the respect that he deserves. And I know that in one particular interview that was after one of these press conferences that someone brought up the topic of Jermell Charlo not being included in the Ring Magazine or ESPN pound for pound list. Well, here at the Boxing Source, that doesn't matter because Jermell Charlo has been part of the Boxing Source pound for pound list for months now because of what he's been able to do there at the super welterweight division, which is for the past few years has been probably one of the deepest divisions in boxing, and he has been able to stand out as the number one guy there at 154 pounds for the past couple of years. So that kind of warranted him being there within the top 5 of the Boxing Source pound for pound rankings. You know what I'm saying? Now he's found there at number 4 in the pound for pound rankings. So here it is more of like, okay, the main question is, has he fully recovered from his hand injury that he suffered, earlier this year, that he would be able to perform at a high level in a big stage like this against Canelo Alvarez in Las Vegas. So that's the thing that we got to see how that's going to turn out there, for Jermell Charlo, and of course, we had a whole little back and forth between Jermell Charlo and newly crowned undisputed welterweight champion Terrence Crawford. So you got a multitude of things that are going on there with Jermell Charlo, but on the flip side, you also still have Canelo Alvarez, who like I said, is currently the top money guy in boxing. And now it seems like he's kind of like expanding his horizon, so to speak. Of course, some people are bringing up his topic of him, speaking English for these press conferences or press tours, and also being on the media circuit that he's been in a couple of shows. Some people know him being on the Breakfast Club. There, of course, it has a very huge audience, so you definitely see something there where they're kind of like using the formula as far as like marketing and advertising this fight, just how they did for the Spence versus Crawford fight. But with Canelo Alvarez, already having a very large audience, now having him on the Breakfast Club, having Jermell Charlo on the Breakfast Club, that kind of like gives you the inkling that this could be a really huge fight, a really successful fight come September 30th. So, I'm definitely looking forward to that coming up. And, like I said, I mean, even with the topic, like I was putting up, man, could Charlo upset Canelo? And I mean, I just say, hey, if he looks at what, Dimitri Bivol was able to do against Charlo, then he would definitely have a good shot there. And I feel like he has the dimensions or the attributes to do that here in this particular case against Canelo Alvarez. So, we have, just about 6 weeks or so before this fight takes place. And, definitely looking forward to that fight coming up on September 30th. I know that, we had some, reports out there that, a bout that could be part of this is Jesus Ramos Jr. versus Erickson Lubin. They're at the 154-pound division. like I said, I mean, that's going to be a definite good fight. Between those two combatants. Just going real quick with what Brother Terrell's saying here. You have Jermell Charlo at 6 feet with a reach of 73 there in comparison to Canelo Alvarez, who is at 5'8 with a reach of 70 and a half. And the thing about it is that with that being said, uh, Jermell Charlo will definitely have to use the jab. I think he does have a good jab, and that he has to be very consistent with that. You will have, of course, Derek James be involved in this, but you also have Joan Guzman as the chief second. Therefore, Jermell Charlo, and I felt like Joan Guzman was a key factor in Charlo's performance there against Brian Carlos Casano in that rematch that took place last year. So definitely on the lookout for how he's been able to implement all of those skills there and hone in the tutelage from Coach Derek James and Coach John Guzman there for this upcoming fight on September 30th. But like I was saying, back with the potential co-feature bout, could be Jesus Ramos there, going up against uh, Erickson Lubin, right? And for me, man, that is going to be a definite good fight there in the super welterweight division, man. Jesus Ramos Jr. Had his bout against Joey Spencer earlier this year. Got a TKO victory there. I just felt like that was a definite mismatch. Joey Spencer was just not, didn't really have the size to keep Jesus Ramos Jr. off of him, and it was just a bad matchup. You know what I'm saying? A bad matchup. And so he was able to get a stoppage victory there in that particular bout. And you have Erickson Lubin, who has been in some real big battles here, recently. He did, have a recent win over Luis Arias, that was a couple of months ago. After losing to Sebastian Fedora last year, and what I said was like one of those fight of the year in that one. But he's been in some good battles there at 154. Facing Terrell Garcia, facing former unified champion Jason Rosario. Of course, he had the loss to Jermell Charlo, but also defeated Ishe Smith and Jorge Cota there in the 154-pound division. So definitely has had a number of fights there at 154 where he's been able to perform pretty well. It was just the one against Sebastian Fedora where he just couldn't take that amount of punishment there from Sebastian Fedora, and now he's going up against Jesus Ramos. That is going to be a good one as long as it lasts. But once we see how that fight turns out, right now I'm leaning towards Jesus Ramos in that bout, but we'll see how that goes here. If Erickson Lubin has been able to hone his skills a little bit more, and I think he's been one of those guys that had came up in the amateur ranks as one of the standouts. So they thought a lot about Erickson Lubin coming up here in the super welterweight division, but now he has another tough bout ahead of him against Jesus Ramos Jr. Now we got to see what's up with the next topic out there, man. And this one here really got me, man. It really got me when I saw it. And of course, people are bringing this up. This is been the trending topic, so to speak, there in sports. This involves the undisputed champion there in women's boxing. And no, I'm not talking about, of course, Clarissa Shields has been two-time undisputed. But here in the super featherweight division, you have Alycia Baumgardner, of course, who had a recent bout, against um, Christina Lendartu in Detroit. Won by unanimous decision. Kept all the belts there at super featherweight. But then we received news today. That she ended up having results that had an adverse clinical finding, according to Matchroom Boxing, and that at least Matchroom Boxing said that they were first informed of the result on August 12th, and that everybody else was also informed about it. In this particular case later on down the line, but this was coming from a sample that she provided before the bout took place, right? And so that means that her status right now, her current status is in jeopardy. Definitely in jeopardy here. Because of what was put out there. Now, it was two substances that were found in her system there, because this was, like I said, I mean, it's something that's still rocking me here in this particular instance, man. What was it? Mestrolone is one of the substances, and actually there was like another one there. I think that was showing up, but it was really Mestrolone was the one that had been reported out there, and they said the sample was received on July 21st, and the results were returned on August 10th. So that one was really a big thing that kind of like shocked a number of people when the initial reports went out, and that now is definitely in jeopardy if Alycia Baumgardner is going to be able to keep all of her titles. Now, I mean, she herself had made a statement that was released there in the reports, and so the thing about it is she had made her statement, and that she was very vocal in reference to this before releasing a statement today. And like she says on her quote, it says on August 12th, she was informed that a sample that was provided on July 12th, 2023 resulted in an adverse analytical finding of mesterolone and methylone acetate metabolites, which are two substances that she says she had never heard of used anyway, and that the sample provided after her fight on July 15th tested clean and negative for all banned substances, as did my sample on June 16th. Well, she says June 16th, 2023, which makes the July 12th result essentially impossible. So she says that she never has, never would, and never will take those drugs there. And after that, it's pretty much been she's changed up her tweets or whatnot in reference to her like receiving comments or anything. So we got to see how that goes, man. Shout out to Ernie in the building here. Live, what's going on with you? And this thing, she said, show up ringside Serrano's fight. Look at the set up a showdown with her. I mean, hey, we still don't know yet. Like I was saying, man, she's been very, very quote unquote vocal on Twitter reference to what's been going on. She says that she's had two samples that were taken after the fight where she was clean, and she says like on another one, I don't know if it's it doesn't look like a typo, whatever it is, but on her statement, she said like on June 16th, 2023, she had a sample taken on June 16th, 2023, but when you have that, you have something on June 16th, and then something 4 weeks later, and then it comes up 4 weeks later, then you know you got to see like what the results are, basically like how the findings come up with how much of that particular product was in their system at that time. So we still have to wait out or whatever it is. I know that there was Dan Rayfield that kind of like reported on this a few hours ago, and usually you have an A sample, and then sometimes when the A sample comes out, where's the B sample? And in many cases, you really don't get many reports on the B sample. But in this particular case with Alycia Baumgardner, it says like the B sample or anything after that, she ended up being negative on all accounts. So as these things develop, we'll see how this comes out. But as of right now, people are looking like, hey, she's gonna have those titles stripped from her, from what was happening here in this particular bout that she had against Christina Lidartu. You had promoter Ludabella, be informed of what was going on, and he says that he'll also see what will be transpiring here after this particular finding took place. But it's kind of interesting that you have something that when this sample was taken, and then the results didn't come out until pretty much here a couple of days ago. So it really doesn't really doesn't make much sense in some cases, because it's like, why are you getting this a whole month after the test had been administered, and it's been after the fight, and then you already have something where it says like two other tests that came through where she took those tests after the fight, and it ended up not being positive. So that's definitely a thing there where we kind of figure out what's going on in reference to that. I mean, I'm not necessarily sure. Like I said, what happens here at this particular point, but we got to see if Alycia Baumgardner has something that's in place where she says, okay, this is not going to be much of an issue. She's kind of been fairly vocal in this particular case in reference to this test coming out the way that it did. So we'll have to see how that goes, man. Right now, you do before I go with the last little topic here for the next 10 minutes or so, whatever it is, you do have the lines open 571-449-7217. If you got anything to chime in on the topics here for the midweek report, like I said, you have Canelo versus Charlo coming up here September 30th. Press tour is coming on. Pretty much see if all big players to get out there to Las Vegas for that weekend there for September 30th. That's going to be a definite big event there when that takes place. And of course, what we got here with Alycia Baumgardner having those positive tests. Real quick, one other thing too, and I know this was also something that was brought up, when this news came out, is that, a number of people were bringing up Michaela Mayer in this particular topic. And well, hey, none of those tests came positive for that fight against Michaela Mayer. You know what I'm saying? So she really isn't much of a topic, or she really can't be brought up in this particular case. You know what I'm saying? So there's that. And down here also, you've had what was going down last week as Emanuel Navarrete did defeat Oscar Valdez by unanimous decision to, retain the WBO title at 130 pounds. Was able to talk about it at the Boxing Source radio show that was on Sunday. And for those that caught me there with Joseph Herron of Warwick Radio, he kind of, talked about that a little bit. Folks call it a classic fight. I mean, it was something with the action. There was a number of action-packed moments in that fight, but that decision, it was fairly wide, and it was warranted to be fairly wide. There really wasn't that many rounds that Oscar Valdez won in that fight. So it's not something where I want to see that fight again. No, I don't. I know. Folks will talk about, they don't want to see Spence versus Crawford again. I don't want to see Navarrete versus Valdez again. This doesn't really, warrant something where Valdez would do much more in a rematch. I really don't see it. So now there have been folks saying that, hey, maybe Navarrete could do something where he could go up to 135 and challenge fighters in 135. And there is a particular fighter there at 135 that has been a champion at 130, that has been a champion at 126, just like Emanuel Navarrete has. And his name is Shakur Stevenson. Now, of course, Shakur Stevenson has been in the boxing news circles for saying, "Oh, this guy don't want to fight me. Haney don't want to fight me." You got Lomachenko don't want to fight me, man. Isaac Cruz don't want to fight me, man. Man, where are these opponents at, man? I need an opponent. Well, now some people are bringing up Emanuel Navarrete as an opponent, and that would be somebody that could be a good fight for Shakur Stevenson at this particular point. If you don't have anybody there at 135 that is lined up to face Shakur Stevenson, why not have Emanuel Navarrete there as an opponent there for Shakur Stevenson? I know that Shakur was saying that, hey, I mean, that he pretty much is dismissing a potential fight with Emanuel Navarrete. Someone, sent a message to him saying that that some people feel like Navarrete could defeat Shakur Stevenson and make him look like how he made Valdez look, or Chris Diaz, or Isaac Dogbe, or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? But Shakur Stevenson says like, hey, styles make fights, and that people comparing the opponents that faced Shakur Stevenson to those that faced Emanuel Navarrete. It's like there's a whole different type of fighter. In that, like Shakur Stevenson pretty much run every round that he's had against the opponents that he's went up against. Well, you've seen Emanuel Navarrete clearly lose rounds to the opponents that he got. You know what I'm saying? So he's like, you really don't want to have this fight take place. But I say, why not? Go ahead and have it. Shout out to Bruce Gass, Boxing Jazz and More. Salute to you, man. For those that are on here, y'all check out Bruce Gass, Boxing Jazz and More. He had recent video on that he's posted on his YouTube channel, so y'all be sure to check that out. Back on the thing here with Shakur Stevenson and Emanuel Navarrete. I mean, you got all of these fights that could have been put together. You know what I'm saying, in the 135-pound division there for Shakur Stevenson, man. But you don't have Jermaine Ortiz there available. He's already defeated Yoshino. Ray Murtai is hurt, injured. George Kambosos had a recent fight with Maxie Hughes. That he ain't fighting Keyshawn Davis. So, like, who else is out there, that Shakur Stevenson can face. You're not going to have him in there against Frank Martin. That's not going to happen. They're not going to have this cross promotional bout in this particular case. There for what is the vacant WBC belt, especially if Devin Haney goes up and he defeats Regis Prograis. Then you're going to have all of those belts be vacated. So you could have a situation where you could have Frank Martin and Isaac Cruz fighting for one of those vacant titles. That could potentially happen. So you're not going to have Frank Martin go up against Shakur Stevenson at this particular point. So if Top Rank doesn't have anybody right now at 135 that can face Shakur Stevenson, why not go ahead and have Emanuel Navarrete go up to 135 and face Shakur Stevenson? Because I really don't think that they have many people there at 130 that can face Emanuel Navarrete. So why not go ahead and make this particular bout at 135 and say, hey, there's your opponent for Shakur Stevenson, because you're not going to have Shakur Stevenson sit out for the rest of the year after having one bout in April. That's not going to happen. So for me, I think that would be a good potential bout to have there for Top Rank this year, and might be the most attractive matchup that they can have in house there for Top Rank. So why not go ahead and have that fight? You know what I'm saying? But we'll see. How that materializes, man. I just feel like the thing with the performance of Emanuel Navarrete against Oscar Valdez has, brought people to say, hey, I mean, if he was able to do this against Oscar Valdez, what would potentially happen in the bout between, him and Shakur Stevenson? I mean, Shakur Stevenson was recently there at 130 pounds, but it didn't last that long, because after he had, his win over Oscar Valdez, he had that one fight that was over in Newark, and he ended up being overweight. So he barely even had both the WBC and WBO titles at 130. That's how crazy it was. So he ended up going up to 135, and after stopping Yoshino, he's looking for another bout at 135, and we got to see what's out there. I mean, I named those guys that were within Top Rank that he could potentially face, but it doesn't really look like they're really making those type of bouts there for Shakur Stevenson. So, with that being said, why not bring up Emanuel Navarrete for 130? I say that can happen, man. But with that being said, that's mainly everything that I got here on the midweek report, though. What's going on, man? Everything boxing in the building, man. Like I said, man, salute to Everything Boxing. Y'all check out Everything Boxing there on YouTube as well, man. Like I was going through before, man, you had the press tour, in New York and Los Angeles for Canelo Alvarez and Jermell Charlo as they build it, undisputed versus undisputed. They're looking to really push this particular bout. They already have been doing their media run, like how they had Spence and Crawford do their media run. So you're seeing it here with Canelo and with Jermell Charlo. Definitely looking forward to that bout. You do have what could be the co-feature bout in Jesus Ramos Jr. versus Erickson Lubin there at 154 pounds. So y'all be on the lookout for that as well. You know what I'm saying? And we got more action coming up down the line here in the next week. I know there ain't really much boxing popping off this weekend, but next weekend, August 26th, you do have Alexander Usyk versus Daniel Dubois for those unified titles that Alexander Usyk has. I think that you have also Jared Anderson in action coming up August 26th. That'll be like a triple header there for Top Rank card. We're going to get more into that later on down the line. First, like I said, the story of the day is Alycia Baumgardner getting results back from a sample that was taken last month that came up positive for two substances. But then they said like two other tests after the bout that she had with Christina Ladartu came back negative. So now it's like, okay, what will happen here at this particular instance, where they say, okay, these multiple samples that were taken, like only this one here came back positive. But as of right now, we got to see what happens with Alycia Baumgardner, and she's up until this particular point has been very vocal about this news that has come out. So I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean, some folks really like Alycia Baumgardner. There are some that really don't like Alycia Baumgardner for some reason. But given this particular circumstance, there have been a number of folks that have been vocal about that topic. So that's going to be something that, of course, as Boxing Media, we're going to follow here at Boxing Fans are going to follow as well. So we're going to see how that goes there with that. And, Shakur Stevenson, he says he's looking for an opponent. Emanuel Navarrete could be an opponent. I'm just bringing it up. Emanuel Navarrete could be an opponent. He's there, of course, as a WBO champion of 130 pounds. And, for me, 130 pounds ain't really, that much where he could do that much, man. I'll see if he can face someone like a Joe Cordina, man, or something like that. But the only other fight that I see out there for him at 130 pounds is Albert Bell, who's been undefeated. Who has been looking for a world title shot for a good little while, but he was part of the top ranked banner and did get a title shot. So I don't know how that's going to work out now. Here, he did have a win recently. He fought on Friday, while Emmanuel Navarrete fought on Saturday. So I mean, they could try to see if they could work something out, but I feel like that's going to be difficult, like especially when he's not part of top rank anymore. Like, but we'll see how that works out if they're able to make that type of fight. If you can't see Emmanuel Navarrete versus Shakur Stevenson, but with that being said, man, that is what I got here on the midweek report for August 16th here, and we'll be back at it on Sunday with the Boxing Source Radio Show. Big shout out for everybody that is joining in on the midweek report, and I will catch y'all later. Peace out.